today's Form Friday, we are going to be breaking down bridge lifts. So bridge lifts and hip thrusts are all the rage right now. It's a great way, both those moves are a great way to build your glutes, but like everything we've been talking about on these Form Fridays, if we're not doing the movement properly, the risk is going to outweigh the benefit of the movement. And if you're not doing your bridge lifts or your hip thrusts with the proper alignment, you run the risk of hurting your low back and not working your glutes at all. So before I come down to the ground and demo, I want to talk about two movements of our pelvis. So we have a posterior tilt and an anterior tilt. So an anterior tilt is when your pelvis rocks forward. So a lot of us stand like this, like it's something that I've been trying to focus on, anchoring my tailbone down, but this anterior tilt is when your pelvis rocks forward, your butt goes back, your ribs stick out, and you feel a little crunching in your low back. Now the posterior tilt, think about post meaning back, or posterior chain, the back side of your body, that is when you tilt your pelvis back like this, so your hip points pull up toward your ribs, the tailbone anchors down, and your spine becomes longer. So anterior to the front, if you think of the A for like in the beginning of the alphabet, the front side of your body, posterior to the back. So post meaning like secondary, the back side of your body. Now applying that down on the ground with our bridge lifts. I'm not going to talk hip thrusts today, but I will do that in another video. So even here without any weight, and even like just with yoga, start on your back, feet hip width distance apart, parallel to one another. So you don't want your toes to turn out, you don't want your feet too wide. Feet are in line with pretty much like your outer hips. Again, feet are parallel, and arms are by your sides. You're going to lift your hips up. But you'll notice here, I have that posterior tilt. If I don't, I look like this. I'm taking my arms overhead so you can see. So if I have an anterior tilt, there's an arch in my low back right here, and I'm just lifting to the sky, and I'm not feeling this in my glutes at all. If, however, I find that posterior tilt, so I take the space away from my spine and the mat, and then I lift my hips up, that's a lot more glute engagement right off the bat. So pelvis rocks back, low back presses into the ground. I take my arms overhead so you can see, and then you lift your hips up and hug your heels back. Now this becomes even more effective if you were to put a weight on your hips, a big dumbbell or a weight plate or a bar. Posterior tilt, low back into the ground, lift your hips, hug the heels back, and squeeze. Same applies to your single leg bridge lift. So if I'm going to extend the leg out, tilt the pelvis back so the space between your low back and the ground goes away, lift the hips. Same thing if your foot were to be elevated on a bench, a step, or a Bosu ball. You always want to rock that pelvis back to create more length throughout the spine and move that work into the glutes. So try implementing this into your bridge lifts. Notice if it feels any different. If those kind of movements bother your low back and you don't like them because of that, this is going to help with that. So enjoy, you guys. Please let me know what other form tips you would like, and I will get you set up. Have an awesome day. Bye-bye.